What's going on, kindergarten? It's Miss Nina here with our Kool-Aid Play-Doh. Mine doesn't have Kool-Aid in it, so it is white, but we are going to be making an awesome project today that goes along with your chicken unit. I know that you guys are learning in the base classrooms all about chickens and how they hatch from eggs. So we're going to be making something similar today. I know it kind of looks like I'm about to make a pie, but I've got my Kool-Aid Play-Doh here. I've got a fork to make some impressions in the clay later. And I've got my finished work here that I made last week. So they've hardened a little bit, but you can see that I've made my nest and my eggs. I'm gonna show you guys how to do that today. It's gonna be so much fun. So we're gonna start with the nest. It is just a pinch pot. Earlier in the year with clay, we made chickens out of pinch pots. So we're going to be making pinch pots again today. You're going to need a ball of clay about the size of your palm like this. You can put the rest off to the side. And you're going to start by rolling your clay. If it's hard for you to roll your clay or your dough in your hands like this, then you can always roll it on a table too. Sometimes that's a little bit easier if your clay is just a little bit too big. Okay, so once you've got it into a ball, what you're gonna do is you're gonna press your thumb down into the clay. My thumbs have some ink on them from a project I was doing earlier with the early learners. So you're gonna have to excuse my red and blue thumbs. But we're gonna press into the clay our thumb all the way down to the center. You don't want it to go all the way through, but you do want it to be pretty deep. Then we're gonna start pinching. Remember, a pinch pot is called a pinch pot because you pinch it to make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Your thumb is gonna stay on the inside and the rest of your hand is gonna pinch like a big crab. Remember, not like a teeny tiny pinch you would give a little brother or sister, but a big granddaddy crab pinch with all your fingers. So I'm gonna put my thumb down into the center and watch as I pinch. And then I'm gonna turn the pot a little bit. I'm gonna pinch again, and I'm gonna turn the pot one more time. Do you see how when I pinch, the center of the pot gets bigger and bigger? You don't want your walls to be too thin, but you don't want them to be too thick either. So it's really this kind of balance that you're making between thick and thin. Once you've got it to about the size that you want, you're gonna want to kind of tap it onto the table gently. That little tapping right there is gonna give it a nice flat bottom so that it doesn't wobble when you're done making it. So make sure you really tap it nice against the table. And if you want it to open up a little bit more, you can pinch some more around the edges as long as it's not getting too thin. Okay. Next step, we're gonna make this look a little more like a nest instead of just a bowl. So this is where your fork comes in, or a pencil, or anything you'd like to use to make impressions. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gently hold my pot and go around the edges and make it look a little bit more like sticks, a little bit more like a nest. Whenever I'm pressing into the clay, I always have my fingers behind it so that I don't make that clay or that dough too thin. We just want to press enough that we're getting that nice little stick shape into our nest. This is going to help open up your nest a little bit too if you think it is too small. If your nest starts to get away from you and get really, really big, oh my gosh, don't even worry. Ball up your clay and start again. It is okay to start over, especially because this dough takes a much longer time to dry out than clay. Let's take advantage of that. You can make as many nests as you need to until you get the right one. If you also want to make some impressions on the inside of your nest, you can too, just as long as you've got your fingers behind it so that you don't poke a hole all the way through. All right, we're gonna make our eggs next. Now, you're gonna need a couple more balls of clay or dough, and you're gonna wanna pinch off just a little bit. You don't want your eggs to be too big or too small. So I've got a little bit in my hand, and I'm going to roll it between my palms again. If this is tricky for you, you can do the same thing before. You can roll it on the table. We're gonna start by rolling it into a ball. And then remember, eggs kind of have a round bottom, and then it's a little bit pointy on the top. It's not a perfect circle. So what I'm gonna do, if you start to get little cracks like this in your dough, just make sure you mush it together a little bit more. All right, I'm gonna roll it into a ball, and then I'm gonna pinch kind of the top of it very gently so that I've got that nice round bottom and kind of the pointed top of the egg. An egg shape. It's hard to explain. There we go. There's my first egg. As you can see in my finished artwork, I made 3 eggs. Here. You can make as many as you want. If you want to make as many eggs as you have siblings, or if you want to just make a ton of eggs, you can. Remember though, try not to make them too small because chicken eggs aren't itty bitty. All right, so I'm rolling this one into a ball again, either in your hands or on the table. And then one side of it stays round. I'm kind of cradling the bottom with my palm, and I'm pinching the top to make it that like oblong shape. There we go, there's my second egg. I'll put it in the nest, and I'll make 3 again. I think if I made a nest with all of my brothers in it, I'd have to make 2 nests. You guys met my brothers when we did the worm assignment a few weeks ago, where I drew all my brothers for you. Trip, Wes, Jack, and Brian. 4 brothers. Here we go. Here's my 3rd egg. Remember, I'm kind of keeping the bottom round and the top pointy. All right, here's my little chicken nest. It's looking super good. It might be even better than my first try. Okay, when you're letting these dry, it's gonna take a few days. Remember, Kool-Aid Play-Doh doesn't last forever, but it will dry out nicely. You can even try and paint it if you'd like. These have been sitting out for about a week, and I had to take the eggs out so that the inside of my nest could dry, and then I also had to flip over my nest a few times to make sure the bottom of that was drying too. You can see it actually doesn't look like it's completely dry yet. It does take a while to dry out, but when it does dry out, you've got this beautiful little chicken project that could even make a really special project or present for Mother's Day. So there you guys have it. I hope you guys had fun with this nice, messy activity, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye, kindergarten.